Halfway done with the East, quarter of the way done with the draw here for the third round. Jamie Watson, I'm Joe Malfa. Got Group C and Group D coming up still here in the East. You've done a good job so far. It's a lot harder for you to mess up here this year than it was in past years, so we're good. Just a reminder again, for those of you maybe just tuning in now, it's mostly straightforward this year just based on the parameters. You'll even see as we continue through these groups, there's already mostly 3 teams already pre-slotted as we get ourselves into Group C. Now, you'll see that here. There's 1 TBD. 3 teams that you'll see coming up in a second that are already determined in Group C, those being Columbus Crew 2 and the Pittsburgh Riverhounds already set. That's established. We just need to draw that top one against Loudoun United. It'll either be Louisville City or Indy 11. And again, just one last reminder, you can have USL Championship against USL Championship. It's just teams that are coming in this round that can't play each other. Loudoun got through already by winning in round 2 against Virginia Dream, so they are good to go against the USL Championship side, and now we'll find out which one.
So the 2 remaining teams in here, we'll see who get to host Loudoun. Louisville City FC.
Oh, that's a fun one. Lou City and Loudoun. They've had some fun battles. Great coaching matchup there, Danny Cruz and Ryan Martin. But this is an interesting one historically here. Columbus Crew 2, now the MLS Next Pro side, affiliate obviously of the Columbus Crew. Rewind the clock a few years. Columbus Crew had that sort of relationship with the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. It was a feeder system of players. Obviously, realignment, expansion, Next Pro coming into existence. Now you have the former feeder team of the Columbus Crew against their now reserve side.
I'm excited to see Bob Lilly go in and try to take on the former MLS Next Pro champions. That will be exciting. On this one, obviously for Loudoun United, they get to go to one of the best venues in all of USL Championship, take on a Danny Cruz-led side. James O'Connor's done a wonderful job with that group, both on the men's side and the women's side. But for Loudoun United, I want to talk a little bit more about Ryan Martin and what he's been able to do with this group. This is a former teammate of mine who was, quite frankly, he was like a coach on the field. So it was no surprise that he switched over to the coaching side of things and has done excellently as a head coach. In the first 2 rounds, Loudoun United have gotten a brace in each of their games. First, they got one from Riley Bedois, and then they got one from Zach Ryan. They were able to dispatch last night Virginia Dream 4-2 to end their dream. See what I did there? And so I'm excited now to see what Loudoun United can do, but it's a difficult matchup, without a doubt, having to head to Lou City.
And those teams just stylistically, they match up well with each other. That one should be a lot of fun. Columbus Crew 2, again, credit to them. They had a rather easy time in their opening round against the New York Renegades, but last game against a USL Championship side in Lexington SC, better team. The whole match punctuated it, 3-0 win. So they're a team to be reckoned with. Federico Higuain now the coach there. So as we move from Group C to Group D, we end up going further south into Florida. This is pretty much our Florida region, except for the one oddball, which we'll draw in a second. Naples, Tampa Bay Rowdies already determined. If that is filled correctly, this should be Indy 11. So let's just make sure.
No faith in me or Commissioner David Applegate? Don't worry, we're experts at this now. This is the 3rd time we've done this. Filling out Group D, Indy 11.
Indy 11, semifinalists of this tournament last year. They get Miami FC, who beat Inter Miami 2 in that last round. Now, Naples and Tampa Bay, that's a fun one. You've got the west coast of Florida now in USL League 1 in their first season in FC Naples, and the Rowdies have just historically been just such a terrific team in USL Championship.
They really have. And look, you can take your pick here. Do you like the beaches of Naples? Do you like Siesta Key and Clearwater Beach of Tampa Bay? That's where you'll find me.
No beaches in Indy.
Not quite, no. No, actually, none whatsoever. Great Lakes. But what I will talk about, though, with this group, Tampa Bay Rowdies, I'm excited to see what they can do in this tournament. I do think there were some questions about what they were going to do when they lose Cal Jennings. We talked about his addition with the Charleston Battery. But now you start to look at other players that can step up and fill goals. And one player that's done that at a great clip, 20 times across all competitions last season, was Manuel Arteaga. He will continue to lead the line. This is a player, too, that I think makes players better around him with his ability to draw attention and then slip players. And I also think they've solidified their defense last season with the acquisition of Robert Castellanos. Now he's there full-time. I think Tampa Bay Rowdies have a case to stake a claim in the next round.
For sure. But I want to come back to Indy because you were able to cover a lot of their run last year. They were that team that just, there's a lot of talent, experience for Sean McCauley in that group. Do they have what it takes again to make that sort of deep run in this tournament?
I've been around groups led by Sean McCauley on the coaching staff, and I can tell you this is a man that just draws everyone's respect instantly and then can get everybody to move around on the chessboard like pieces. And you could argue the queen, one of the most important pieces of that chessboard, is Jack Blake in the middle of the park, still doing it at a very high level, can score goals. His signature, but Robin Hood pulls it out, gives a bow celebration. Seen that a time or two in USL Championship. I have a feeling Miami FC might see that one too.
Yeah, I like how you snuck the queen most important piece in there. I've seen you playing chess on your phone before. Not many wins in that win column,
Terrible.
but he does play. So Indy, Miami, Naples, Tampa Bay, that rounds out the East. So when we come back, we go from the West Coast of Florida to the West Coast of the country. Sacramento, they made a final in 2022. El Farolito, they're the darlings. We'll see where those teams end up as the third round draw on the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup continues. Time for the West. East is done. Jamie Watson, I'm Joe Malfa. Welcome back again on the Golazo Network as we finish up this third round draw of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. We've already seen, again, how this sort of works. It's a little bit of a different wrinkle here in this west side of the bracket. There is one group that is set. Group E, determined, revealed, just like we saw in Group A. There was nothing to have to draw here between who could and couldn't play who, between who could and couldn't host. Group E is set. And Tacoma Defiance, Oakland Roots, that's an interesting one. Call back to USL Championship from a few years ago between those two teams. Always seemed to play fun matchups. Oakland needed to keep their playoff hopes alive by beating Tacoma. They did. So we're tapping back into some of that history now in Open Cup.
You're absolutely calling it as it was over the last couple of years to get us to this point and why these matchups mean a little bit more. But for Gavin Glinton's side, we saw what they were able to do at the Coliseum. They were able to pack that place out. There's a lot of momentum with what they're being able to achieve, and now they get to go and face against Tacoma Defiance, who got it done late last night against Spokane Valley. Needed extra time to do it. They got the job done. Sacramento Republic, they've been pretty good in this tournament in the past, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
What was it, 2022?
2022.
Finalists, Orlando City almost got over the line under Mark Briggs, but now Sacramento, they get to welcome in El Farolito. Talked about it at the top of the show. Cinderella's back at the ball, baby. That glass slipper is still firmly on the foot. Joe, you've covered El Farolito more than anybody else over the Open Cup runs over the last 3 years. What makes them so successful?
First of all, congratulations, because they are the only Open Division team remaining, so they do collect that $50,000 prize. What makes them so special, I think, compared to other amateur teams, first of all, a lot of these guys do have a pro background now. They've settled in the Bay Area. They all work together. They know each other. They're very good chemistry-wise. The two things that we see that are issues for amateur sides sometimes, they don't really have the chemistry. They don't really have the fitness. This team has both of those things, and they just have an it factor. I know that's an easy out, but they just have this it factor about them where whether they go down, whether they're up. How many times do we see in this tournament amateur teams fall behind? They got to open up. 1-0 becomes 3 or 4-0. 3 of their wins these last couple of years, they went behind 1-0 and then won 2-1. There's a magic there. This is the marquee matchup, I think, of this third round. A former finalist in Sacramento, everybody's favorite team, the Burrito Boys in El Farolito. So Group E determined. Now we have to get back into the draw for Groups F, G, and H. So with that, we welcome back in David Applegate.
All right. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Jamie. With one group in the West complete with logical geography, we will now reveal the additional groups and draw teams into vacant positions within each group. When building the groups in the West, there was not a logical pairing for hosts FC Tulsa and Union Omaha. Additionally, our West region will also include 2 teams from Tennessee that did not have logical pairings back east. Chattanooga Red Wolves and 1 Knoxville will be drawn to travel to face one of the seeded teams in the Western groups.
So now we're drawing, again, 2 home teams to slot in, 2 road teams to slot in as we get into this next group, Group F, to have that team deposited. Again, you're going to see the TBD. You're going to see other teams that are already slotted in, and it starts in Group F, where we have AV Alta taking on Orange County, and Las Vegas. We need to see who is traveling to Las Vegas. So that's where you come in and have to draw the first road team that is going on the road to Las Vegas.
The team that will travel to Sin City to face Las Vegas Lights, the Chattanooga Red Wolves.
Oh, they've been that dramatic team through the first couple of rounds, having to go to a pair of shootouts. Also, the crowd in Chattanooga, tip of the cap. Over 12,000 fans out there for that Chattanooga derby between Chattanooga FC and the Chattanooga Red Wolves. So that was a great sight to see. 2 teams that have a little bit of a budding history. The fan bases don't particularly like each other too much. I'm sure if there's any Chattanooga FC fans tuning in, they might have just turned it off when they saw the Red Wolves pop up. But that'll be a fun one, seeing them go out west against Vegas. Down here, though, AV Alta, they were the ones that kept you awake one night this week. It felt like every night we had some sort of late drama. They were very much a part of it.
I loved hearing Josh Easton give the call. The goal in the 120th minute. I was one of those that stayed up late. You could tell by the bags under my eyes to watch that magical moment. That team out in Lancaster, California, that'll be an exciting matchup to be able to face against Orange County SC. They will host. That is one that on paper you look at and you think, well, that should be the higher seed, right? The fact this matchup is there in Lancaster might just tip the scales and make it a bit more even for AV Alta. And then Chattanooga, they woke up, the city of Chattanooga, beautiful place. It's red this morning. It's not blue. And so now they get to have a reward in the third round to go and play against the Las Vegas Lights, who come off of a season last year in which, quite frankly, they had the best turnaround in point total under Dennis Sanchez. But Dennis Sanchez, the manager, no longer there anymore. Antonio Nocerino is there, but one man that is still there, Johnny Rodriguez, J-Rod. 12-plus goals in the last 2 seasons. He has been a real focal point to the attack. And I look at this group, if they want to be able to get past Chattanooga Red Wolves, they're going to need the likes of Johnny Rodriguez, but also maybe Joe Zhao as well. Some of these players to really step up and contribute and make it exciting going forward to get past that stout defense of the Red Wolves.
It's been nice to see Las Vegas from what they were, the whole turnaround front office on the field, to now sustain success, where they lost their coach. They lost some players last year, and it doesn't look like they've lost a step in the Western Conference.
Joey Bat's there too now.
Joey Bat's there too now.
Never
so they're
played
looking to hit it
baseball,
out of the park here in Open Cup. That was a terrible I was trying to do my job, and I'm looking at your feet. I'm looking at your arms. And I'm going to leave it at that.
I peaked at T-ball. T-ball was where it ended for me.
Get your kids into soccer. Don't take them to the T-ball field. I wouldn't want to learn from you. That's Group F. You see the Red Bulls now in the bowl. Remember, we have to draw 2 of the home teams and 2 road teams. We already got one of those road teams there in Chattanooga. As we flip now to Group G, we have New Mexico and El Paso. We need to draw the home team to determine where Phoenix is going. So New Mexico, El Paso, that one's set. Again, you might see all USL championship there. It's allowed. El Paso came through that last round last night in dramatic fashion. New Mexico newly slotted into this third round. It's okay that we have all USL championship, and now we got to change the TBD.
All right. To round out this group, FC Tulsa.
Okay, FC Tulsa. So Group G features all USL championship teams. That was going to happen at some point based on the numbers. And FC Tulsa, talk about a side that's gone through a lot of change, and 3 straight years they've had a new head coach. Now Luke Spencer at the helm. They've been an interesting group to watch based on the roster, based on the staff. Phoenix, though, again, a team that won USL championship in 2023, a team that has some history making deep runs in this tournament. That'll be an interesting matchup to watch there. New Mexico, we know their success, and new head coach that we'll get to there in a second. But Tulsa Phoenix should be a fun one.
I think that experience you talk about from the 2023 USL Championship playoffs, where they came in as an 8 seed and then managed to find their way all the way to the final, knocking off Charleston in penalties. That kind of experience in the back pocket, invaluable in knockout tournaments, because you understand how to be able to win in those one-off survive and advance situations, but also doing it on the road, which they'll have to do against Tulsa. And then last night, El Paso Locomotive, speaking of going on the road, they left 5 key pieces to the puzzle at home, and Wilmer Cabrera's side still were able to do it. 2 goals off of corner kicks. They were also buoyed by a red card from Ventura County, but a late red card to Tony Alfaro means he's out of this matchup. That's an exciting one, though, going to New Mexico.
Say, the head coaching matchup there, Wilmer Cabrera finds a way, and there's a new man in New Mexico as well.
Yeah, Wilmer Cabrera got to see his son score in that matchup last night. But New Mexico United, we mentioned what the key component for Las Vegas' loss last season was the head coach, Dennis Sanchez. Well, he now is the manager at New Mexico United, who replaces Eric Quill, joining FC Dallas in Major League Soccer. I love the way New Mexico United play. They've got players like Zico Bailey pulling the strings in the middle, and you start to look at what they can do going forward. You add in Dennis Sanchez and how he was able to galvanize that group in Las Vegas. Now he's able to do it with this group. They got really a lot of expectations now for this New Mexico United side, who have been putting it together. And I like what Greg Hurst can do up front with all those talented players around him. So look for that to be a really good matchup in Group G.
It was almost a little bit of a surprise to see New Mexico ousted where they were in the playoffs last year. This is a team that you expect a lot of big things out of, both in USL Championship this year and in Open Cup. So F and G are done. We continue our road through the West, going to Group H now. So again, remember, we have to draw a home team, we have to draw a road team. This is where we have 2 blanks here in Group H, and you will fill the first one for us.
The bottom one will go first here. This will be the host. Oh, the team that dashed all the hopes for Des Moines Menace last night, Union Omaha.
Okay, so Union Omaha will be hosting San Antonio in this next round, and we need to determine the last team, the last ball. Just go reach in and grab it. Make sure we have everything. Okay, go ahead.
You don't get to do that very often in life. We're going to really do it, you know?
Kid in a candy store.
Absolutely. Last but certainly not least, Ian Fuller's led 1 Knoxville SC.
Okay, so there you have it, Group H, and this was, again, the one where we had to draw those 2 teams based on the way things went. Union Omaha won the double last year. Dom Casciato has a terrific group. They frustrated Sasha Kleshtin to the point of a red card from the bench last night.
Oh, you had to bring that one up.
If he's considering coming back next year, he's got to serve a suspension for Game 1 next year with Des Moines, so I don't know what they're going to do next year. But Omaha just looked class. It's been a rocky start to the season, not in the form, just they've had a quirky schedule. They've had a game, 10 days off, a game, 10 days off, and it kind of continues that way. They play one more time only in league play before this game against San Antonio. And that San Antonio team, after a down year last year, 4-0 to begin this season. Only team that has won 4 out of 4 in USL Championship.
They've been incredible at Union Omaha's side. With only that one matchup, I think the confidence they'll get from last night, looking at what was an all-star team, maybe in the mid-2010s last night. Dax McCarty should be recovered by opening round next season if he wants to come back for Des Moines Menace. Omaha will use that confidence, though, to welcome in San Antonio. Great start for San Antonio FC. They look complete. They look really difficult to break down, but Union Omaha, that's been their signature.
But they have experience, by the way. Let's not forget, Union Omaha, their first ever Open Cup was in 2022. They made it to the quarterfinal as a USL League One team. The following year, ousted in the round of 32 against the St. Louis City side that had a record crowd in St. Louis for their first home Open Cup game. And then last year again made another deep run before they lost to Sporting Kansas City in extra time, Union Omaha. So they know what it takes to put Stars above the crest. They've done it twice in League One. They know what it takes to make a run in Open Cup. And speaking of Stars above the crest, Colorado Springs Switchbacks did that last year in USL Championship.
Incredible. One Knox has enjoyed a great start so far to life in USL League One, but they have to go to Colorado Springs, which was the host of the USL Championship last season, in which it was a convincing 3-0 win over Rhode Island. But Colorado Springs, they understand what it takes to be able to navigate a knockout competition and then ultimately be the ones at the end standing, lifting a trophy. That feeling doesn't fade. I've been there, it carries over. I understand what that feels like when you go into preseason, when you start a new competition early in the season. Colorado Springs Switchbacks, I fully expect to be the team that continues to make another run in a knockout tournament, and they'll have a tough task doing, though, against One Knox.
I was going to ask you, we have a couple of good options here. They just won the title. San Antonio looked terrific. Omaha, we know what they can do. It feels like, as you look to the lower division side still remaining, before we get into the MLS teams who are coming in later, 3 of these 4 teams, no disrespect to One Knox, please prove me wrong, please join this group, but these 3 teams here in Colorado Springs, Union Omaha, and San Antonio, one of those teams feels like they're making around a 16 or something like that.
Yeah, we'll save this tape because we'll see what it looks like in a couple years, because I think One Knox will be in that discussion when we start to talk about in a few years' time continued success. Yeah, don't be surprised in this one in particular, Union Omaha. They are a team that just figure out how to get it done. They're difficult to play against.
We know who's playing. Now you just get a reminder of when they're playing. April 15th, 16th, the 3rd round in a couple of weeks' time. And there you have it the rest of the way, all culminating in that final on October 1st. All of it can be seen on the CBS Family Network, CBS Sports Network, Paramount Plus, Golazo Network, the whole lot. So we thank you for being with us once again here for the 3rd round draw of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. For our commissioner, David Applegate, for the entire crew that makes this possible, for my partner, Jamie Watson, I'm Joe Malpa saying so long for now. Come back again a couple weeks' time as we play the 3rd round in the 110th edition of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup.